Today, I'm thrilled to have Philip Pasma with us, who is the founder of Asterisk Marketing, a leading digital marketing agency specializing in the real estate industry for generating consistent high quality leads. He has over 400,000 paid leads generated and over 100 5-star reviews. Asterisk Marketing has established itself as a trusted partner for agents looking to scale their business through proven strategies like Google PPC ads. Philip, thank you so much for joining me today. And we're going to be specifically talking about how to create Google PPC ads that actually work. There's a lot of chatter in the real estate industry about Google PPC. There's a lot of companies out there that offer Google PPC, but not all agencies are created equal. So thank you for joining today. You have a lot of background in this space. But before we dive into that topic, can you share a little bit about your journey with us in the marketing
Yeah,
space? How did you get into real estate marketing and the marketing industry?
yeah, that's a good question. Not totally. It's pretty straightforward. Nothing too exciting. But I went to university. I had to pick. I was in business. Kind of had to pick a route. I was like, yeah, marketing seems fun. So I kind of spent 4 years in marketing, and then I worked for a couple companies within the marketing role. And then I've always wanted to start my own company. So I finally took the leap. And when you start a new business, most marketing agencies, you just take whatever clients will come your way, right? You're just trying to make a sale. You're just trying to start the business. So I worked with a bunch of different companies. One of those companies was a home builder locally. And then the home builder worked with a real estate agent, and he kind of referred me to that agent. So we started working together, and we had really, really good success from a SEO side of things. So that's actually where I got started, is his SEO in real estate. And then, as you know, real estate agents are really big into Facebook groups. So he started to refer me, and then another person reached out, and then another, and another, and another. And then all of a sudden, I found I was working with mainly real estate agents. And then I just went all in, because we all know getting into a niche is extremely powerful and helpful. So then from there, I just went all in on real estate, and yeah, it's been an amazing journey, and I've really enjoyed working with real estate agents and learning more about it through the digital marketing lens.
And how long have you been in this space in the real estate industry and PPC?
So I've been doing this for over 10 years in the digital marketing space. Specifically in real estate, I've been doing it for six or 7 years. Real estate only.
Got it. So I'm going to start really high level with you because the term PPC, pay per click, can be sort of mystical, I guess, or it can be like a misunderstood term. So
Right.
can you share exactly what PPC advertising is and how it works in the context of real estate?
Yeah, so it's kind of like a broad overarching term, and it can talk, like, when you talk about pay per click, you could be referring to Facebook, and you could be referring to Google. In the most of the time, people are thinking about Google when they're talking about pay per click, and it's as it sounds, right? You have an ad running on Google, so someone will type in a keyword, so say homes for sale in Las Vegas, and then you have an ad that shows up. You target that keyword, you write your ad copy, you have your landing page, and once they click on the ad, you are paying Google or Bing, I guess, say 95 cents. So people like it because you're only paying when you actually get a result. The result being a click, and so you could show up 1,000 times in terms of impressions, but you're only paying for when someone clicks on the ad. Um, so that's kind of like a general overview of pay-per-click. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into it, but essentially that's what pay-per-click is.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that. So there's a lot of hesitancy, at least in the groups I'm a part of, in the spaces and masterminds I'm part of. There's a lot of hesitancy around people wanting to explore the PPC side of advertising, and people tend to want to be only in the space of Facebook or Meta and Instagram
Mm.
because those leads are generally known to be cheaper and more accessible. Um,
Right.
why should real estate agents consider shifting that mindset and consider exploring PPC advertising?
Yeah, it's a great question. And yeah, as you mentioned, Facebook generally, we've run Facebook ads in the past. We talked to a lot of people that run Facebook ads, and you're right. It's kind of like all you need is a Facebook profile, right? Especially if you're running a lead form, you don't even need to have a website. So I think it's like you said, it's very accessible. You can generate a lot of leads for fairly low cost. What we've what we've run into, kind of the challenge we've run into with Facebook in terms of lead generation or Instagram is, yes, you get a lot of leads, but it generally, like, I just had a call with someone about this, and he's like, I'm generating a ton of leads, but nobody knows who I am. They don't even know what ad they clicked on. So the quality, and again, quality is somewhat subjective of a term, but you get a lot of tire kickers, and you get a lot of people that are very, very far out and may have pre-approval issues and stuff like that. So, and it kind of makes sense, at least in with Meta and Facebook. It's like kind of like a billboard, right? They're not like going to Facebook looking for homes. They're going to Facebook to look at what their sister or friends are doing. Whereas with pay per click, we are showing them exactly what they want, right? So if they do a luxury home in Cape Coral, we are showing them exactly that ad copy. We're showing them a landing page of luxury homes in Cape Coral or a real estate agent in Reno. So they're going to Google, they have high intent, and then we're fulfilling that intent with our ad. So the quality in terms of, yes, people are actively looking, their time frame seems to be a little bit shorter. There's a bunch of different stuff that we can do to try to customize it. I think those are a lot of the reasons that people like to do pay per click. Um, and again, like, there's just so much you can do in terms of customization, right? Like, you can target by neighborhoods, by condo buildings, by type of home, zip code, county, relocation, income, all that kind of stuff. Whereas Facebook is very based on demographic targeting. It's not specifically what they're searching for. Um, so I think that's one of the reasons that a lot of people really like pay per click.
Yeah, yeah. And to piggyback off of some of your points, Facebook has essentially made it more and more difficult to do better targeted marketing because because of all of the regulations that have been put in place. You have to do broader and broader marketing. You can't target specific areas anymore. You can't target specific demographics, as you mentioned. So, being able to find your key target audience has been proven a lot more difficult on Facebook. So, you mentioned a few different ways you can segment and find your target audience on Google, but can you share a bit more about how a real estate agent can select the correct components for creating a successful Google PPC campaign?
Yeah, there's, like, obviously I can get really into the granular details, which I won't do in this one. That's probably a whole other podcast. But just, yeah, to kind of run a successful pay-per-click campaign, I'm gonna, for the most part, I talk about the most popular way to generate leads, and that's to go after people looking for homes and sending them to an IDX landing page. So there's a lot of different keywords that you can target, right? You can target people looking for real estate agent, people looking to sell their home, what's my home worth, all that kind of stuff, and those can be beneficial for sure. It's just what we found is most of the majority of people looking for real estate online is people looking for homes, right? And that makes sense for even sellers, right? The first time, like, when I was going to sell our house, the first thing we did was we looked at a new house, right? So we went online, looked at a new house. So that's the leads that generally we go after. So in order to have that, you have to have a correct website, right? You need an IDX enabled website. There's a bunch of them out there: Real Geek, Sierra, Lofty, Agent Fire. Not all of them convert at the same level. Some do better, but first of all, you need an IDX landing page, right? So you can show properties, and then you need to, of course, be able to select the right keywords, right? And generally, the more granular you get, the better, right? Everyone is going to type in the city home search, right? Everyone's going to type in Orlando homes for sale, but can you get granular? Can you do Orlando pool homes, or a specific neighborhood, or a 3-bedroom waterfront condo, right? Like, those type of keywords are going to yield better results. And then you need your ad copy to specifically match with your keyword. So if you're keyword is about waterfront condos, your ad copy better be talking about waterfront condos. And then how can you use the ad copy to entice people to click on it? What are the features on your website? What's the value that you can bring? Again, you don't really want to use this space to talk about you as an agent because they don't actually care at this point, right? And for the most part, people actually don't care. They care about what you can do for them. What value do you give? Um, so assuming that all matches up, and then the landing page, right? Are we showing them waterfront condos? Um, are we showing them at a price point that they're looking for? Is it optimized? Do we have a lead capture set up? So that's like one of the things that a lot of people don't know is you 100% have to use a lead capture. So when you click on a property, boom, there's a lead capture pops up. It says fill in your name, email address, and phone number. If you don't have that, which is something we see a lot of people do, if they don't run a lot of these, is you're just going to spend a lot of money and get zero leads, right? Because it's like they'll go to your website, they'll look around at a few homes, they're not ready to fill out a form and request more information. They'll leave. They have nothing to remember you by. Then tomorrow they'll do the same Google, and now they're going to Zillow or your competitor. So that's a key component as well, is having that lead capture.
Yeah, and
And
you mentioned, oh, sorry to interrupt you, but you had mentioned towards the beginning of your explanation that not, I don't want to get you in trouble, but you had mentioned that not all IDX providers convert at the same rate.
level.
What did you mean by that?
Well, some websites will, some platforms, just because of how it's set up, because of the lead capture, how easily someone can filter different searches and stuff like that. So like some some will convert in terms of traffic to leads at a higher rate than others. So there's just some of the websites out there are more geared towards like say branding or more geared towards, well, that's a big one. Some are just very focused on branding, right? And that's their focus. Other ones are very focused on converting leads. Some are focused on SEO, right? So each platform kind of has their own little focus. So you got to figure out like what is your priority.
So you also mentioned ad copy, but what about keyword selection? How would an agent select the right keywords?
Yeah, so one of the best ways to figure out keywords is within Google Ads, there's actually a tool called Keyword Planner. And in that tool, you can type in a keyword. Obviously, you got to know where to start. But once you type in, so say you want to look at targeting neighborhoods, right? So then you would go Nashville neighborhoods. And then Google is going to show you the most popular neighborhoods. I mean, you should probably know this if you're an agent in a neighborhood or a real estate agent in Nashville, or at least have some extent, but it's going to show you the most popular neighborhood by search volume. It's going to show you the competition. It's going to show you the cost per click, high and low. So that's one of the ways you can start thinking about, okay, like I want to target these top 10 neighborhoods within my Google Ads campaign. Or you could type in type of homes, even just looking at the popular types of homes within your city. You could type in Nashville real estate agent and see like, are people saying top real estate agent, or are they saying best real estate agent, and what's the volume, or what's my home worth, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, you kind of need to know where to start, but Google Keyword Planner is the best way to try to find that. You can go after like informational topics like moving to Nashville. Those people are probably a little bit further out, but you could send them to like a blog or a guide, and then they could download that. The cost per click is probably pretty low, but that's a strategy you could use. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can do it.
So the examples you shared were, homes for sale in a specific area, neighborhood, or pools and whatnot. There's also a lot of chatter about sellers. I need more sellers, I need more listings. That should be where my focus is, but those
Right.
tend to be a lot more expensive, and maybe a lot of people aren't necessarily searching for that. What is your opinion on creating specific ads trying to get seller leads?
Yeah, yeah. We're So one thing that you can do within Google Ads as well is audience targeting. So I could actually tell Google that, so I'm based in Toronto, and I can tell Google I only want to target people who own a home, who live in Toronto and are looking for homes in Toronto. So now when I get a lead coming in, I don't need to, like, I know they own a home. So I know they need to list that home before they can buy a new home. Whether or not they're working with a real estate agent already is up to debate, or I have to find out. But that's one way you can target sellers. Um, and there's other ways you can do it, like what's my home worth? That one generally is like we've kind of had mixed reviews on that one. I mean, like most things, it's a long-term strategy. You really got to work the leads. Um, Real estate agent near me, those generally can be sellers as well. It's just the volume for those keywords is quite low and the competition is extremely high because local service ads, right? Local service ads kind of dominate those, which I recommend almost everybody run local service ads, but it's really hard to scale those. You can't just throw more money at it and out comes more leads, whereas with the buyer campaigns, we can, and then we can also get sellers from buyers.
Yeah. And going back to one of my original questions where agents are kind of concerned about the cost of PPC, how should
Mhm.
they approach when they are creating the ads? What should they expect in terms of the cost per lead and measuring their ROI? You mentioned it's a long-term game. When should they expect an ROI? What should they
Yeah,
expect in terms of the cost and things of that nature?
for sure. For sure. I'm going to use averages because everyone's somewhat different, right? Obviously, the ROI is going to very be dependent on you as an agent, right? Like, what's your follow up? Have you hired Elena? And do you have workflows and drips and all that kind of stuff? Are you actually calling the leads? Are you showing value versus just trying to make a quick sale? Like, all of that plays into it. But generally speaking, we did a survey of 30 of our clients recently, and it took just under 4 months to close their first deal, which in a lot of places that can pay for a year of advertising or close to it. Um, in terms of investment within pay-per-click, like generally speaking, we suggest people start with around $1,000 a month in the ad investment side of things. So that's money going directly to Google. If you're working with a company, I'm not talking about whatever they charge or their management. Um, you need the reason being is because you do need to have volume there, specifically when you are, again, I'm talking about the IDX buyer campaign, which is generally the most popular. You still need to have volume of leads. So the cost per lead generally is around like $15-$20 cost per lead. Just like everything in life, it's kind of gone up over years. You can get it lower depending on where you are in the States or Canada, but generally speaking, it's kind of around that. The only thing I say is people do kind of get hung up on cost per lead, and it's got to be a balance between quality and cost per lead, and then volume as well, right? So like we're not just trying to get the most amount of leads as possible because then you'd use Facebook, right? Or we would just go after whatever lead is going to generate the lowest, which maybe is condos, and you don't want to work condos, right? Because that's the thing, right? When we talk to people, right, we first of all we want to create custom campaigns for them, tailored to what they're looking for. And one of the things is price points, right? What price point are you, a luxury? Are you fine with the median or average? But we try to tailor it to that. And then obviously we're trying to get you higher in stuff because that's going to yield a higher return for you. So it's not only about cost per lead and trying to get the lowest cost per lead possible. We have to balance quality as well. That being said, you still need enough volume. You can't just have 5 leads a month and expect to go anywhere, right? Ideally, you have 25, 50, almost maybe 100 leads a month. Um, the the nice thing about pay per click is you can always change the budget, right? Maybe you find $1,000 a little bit overwhelming because you have all these other lead sources coming in. So you scale it back to say 700 or 600, or you add a team member and you want to ramp up and you add another 500 or 1,000. You can do that at any time. No zip code is off limits, right? There's like you can basically go after every keyword. Um, but yeah, generally speaking, $1,000 is a pretty healthy place to start. And and sorry, what was another question you had? Was it ROI?
Yes, just for measuring ROI and when to expect it. But I actually had a follow-up question to what you shared of picking back of that conversation of quality versus quantity, and agents forgetting to put in a landing page and actually getting leads. You'll hear some people say that you need to reduce the amount of friction you have and just have a landing page that only asks for name, email, phone number. But then agents will complain like these leads are terrible and bogus leads or whatever. And then you'll have
Right,
people say, no, you need to have more questions. So you get like high quality leads. You're asking them, when are you
right.
looking to move? Are
Why
you
low?
working with an agent? And yeah, asking all these questions, you get high quality leads, but then people are probably dropping off and not answering the questions. But then the promise is, well, you're getting higher quality, higher intent leads. Where is your stance on lower friction versus higher friction, higher quality?
Yeah, I mean I'm personally I lean more towards more volume, lower friction, just as like a conversion rate. I understand from an agent's point of view where it's like I only want to work like quality leads and all that kind of stuff. But I do think you put them through a 10 question questionnaire, you're going to get a ton of people who could potentially be clients just drop off because it's like, who wants to answer these many questions, right? At the end of the day, I want to look for homes, right? And I want access to that. And then you get their information and then you can show the value. But if you don't have that information, it's very hard to show value. I think it's somewhat dependent, and I don't think it's like a one size fits all. I think some people prefer a lower number and they just maybe they're happy with 5, 10, 15 leads and they went through the whole questionnaire. The other question is, does that necessarily mean they're more serious all the time? I mean, it's up to debate potentially, but I think it's that's the beauty of it. I think you can test it. I mean that one's a little bit harder to test with the platforms because that's kind of like why Lobo, for example, they do that. The other ones you just can't implement that. Like so for Real Gigs, for example, like I couldn't just throw it in there. That's done on the platform, but you could potentially, I guess, switch platforms and try it out.
Yeah. And I know that your agency in particular, Asterisk, you have a lot of really great reviews online. I'm curious, you frame yourselves as being a more white glove approach. What sets Asterisk Marketing apart from other Google PPC marketing agencies that are tied into, let's say, website providers where an agent can just click a button and start getting Google PPC leads?
Yeah, I think it's just two different approaches, right? And I think we try to be more custom to the agent, really try to get to understand them, really work with them throughout the months and years that they're with us, try to take different approaches, learn right like right away we have a kickoff call before we even start the campaign to try to get to know more information about you. Like what potentially sets you apart? What specifically are you looking for, right? Is there a neighborhood that you live in that you really want to target? Do you want to are you into military, like a military background? Do you want to focus on that? Are you into luxury? So should we add on income targeting? Do we want to focus on sellers with a homeowner or a local homeowner buyer campaign, is what we call it? Do you want to do short-term rental investments? Right? There's just so much that you can do with Google, where it's like a lot of other companies which take more of a scale approach, where it's like you kind of input 10 cities, out comes ad copy. It's kind of rinse and repeat, same model. And they just run it very similar to each other, which there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's just a different approach. Whereas again, we want to make one more tailored to you. We also want to work alongside you to ensure we're hitting our targets and we're generating ROI. You're happy with the service, because the thing is, we don't like we're not talking to leads, right? So if you're getting really good results from one type of buyer, say maybe they're looking for penthouses in wherever, um, we want to know that so that we can shift more budget to it, right? It's not a set it and forget it thing where you don't hear from us again and we're just kind of like tinkering away in the background. Like we want it to have a working partnership, so that we can ensure we're maximizing your ROI.
Yeah, that's great. I appreciate that insight. So, for those listening in and they're curious to learn more about your agency, what's the best way for them to? learn more?
Yeah, I mean, the best way would probably go into our website, asteriskmarketing.co. It is .co, or just Googling Asterisk Marketing. We should pop up. You can see what some of the people are saying about us with our reviews. You can check out your website. Once you fill out a contact form, I personally will schedule a call with you, and I'll just try to get to know you a little bit more. Learn about what your goals are, what's worked in the past, what hasn't worked. We do more than just pay-per-click is our bread and butter for sure, but we've done really well with SEO. We've ranked a lot of websites, um, and we also can help with like, Google Business. Retargeting is a very big component of pay-per-click. Um, so there is other things, and we can try to tailor a marketing solution for you. But yeah, best way would be to go to our website.
Awesome. And I'll be sure to include a link in the description below to asteriskmarketing.co as well for those who are curious to learn more. Philip, thank you so much for joining the call today and sharing those insights about PPC marketing and kind of demystifying it. I've always been curious to learn more about it because that is a very foreign, oh, what's the word?
Concept.
Yeah, foreign concept to me. I've always been in the Facebook, Instagram space, but not the PPC space. So thank
Yeah.
you for sharing those insights.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.